Hello, welcome to Mowgli TV. Today we're going to talk about generative content and why you should be using it if you're not already doing so. While it's true that there's still a place for rendered content because there's a lot of stuff that you simply cannot do with generative tools, whether it's making a robot animation or a very specific client need that requires you to animate a human heart, for example. That kind of content is not possible to achieve with generative tools, but there's plenty of content out there, basically abstract, geometric, textured, that you could be doing 100% inside Resolume, and there's many advantages to doing this. I'm just going to go through 5, which are the most important ones, so that you'll see the power in generative content and start incorporating it into your workflow. Reason number 1, file size. While SSDs have become the norm, and as always happens with technology, storage space is becoming cheaper, it's still not a lot of fun to carry terabytes of clips, whether it's because your hard drive can't handle them or just because you're copying files across, and it takes a considerable amount of time. As an example, this you see here is generated 100% inside of Resolume using its built-in effects and sources. As it stands, this composition, which has only got this clip, is 215 kilobytes. That's for the whole composition, not just the clip. On the other hand, I've actually rendered this clip in 4K and with an alpha channel. It's 298 megabytes. As you can see, the difference is absolutely huge. As you start accumulating clips, this quickly goes from megabytes to gigabytes to terabytes. Before you know it, you've run out of hard drive space and you're struggling. And as I've said before, it's not just that, but copying files across when you're moving from your production computer to your performance computer, or you're sharing content with another VJ, this becomes a cumbersome task. And it just makes life simpler. Also related to the file size is the fact that once you've rendered that clip, it'll be as it is, and it'll be whatever length it was. I think in that particular case, it's about 16 beats long. But because it's generative, you can actually tailor the animation in a way that it never loops. So it's constantly progressing, making it extremely long, and the equivalent to having a clip that could be several minutes long. This is a huge advantage. Clips are very handy and they're very useful to get rhythm going, but sometimes it's also nice to have things that evolve over a long period of time, so that your visuals appear a lot more dynamic and engaging for the audience. Another big advantage of creating your material using generative tools is there are no render times. I spent a big chunk of my life doing animation work commercially, and I have to say that it got to a point where not just keyframe editing, but rendering became a real pain. It was this constant process of pre-rendering or rendering something, waiting for a while, watching it, making some notes of what needed tweaking, doing the tweaks, and going through the whole process again and again and again and again. When you're doing generative content, everything's happening in real time and is right in front of you without taking extreme amounts of time, taking up hard drive space again. And it's just not fun. It's a lot more engaging seeing you tweaks with immediate result. Reason number 3 is that you can tweak your animations infinitely. It could be said that you can do this when you're working on a timeline, but the truth is that doing that again goes through the process of rendering, pre-rendering, tweaking, etc. It's very simple in Resolume to duplicate a clip, start tweaking as much as you want, create something completely different in a few minutes with much fun and little pain. Reason number 4 is that generative content is a lot better if you're using sound reaction. Although you can apply any effect to a pre-rendered clip and apply sound reaction to any of its parameters, when you're using generative content, you can get into the nitty-gritty of the actual animation itself rather than just relying on effects for sound reaction. You can get into things like the individual elements, the spatial relations between them, and you can really get into the finer detail of sound reaction, creating something that always responds to the music that's playing, while you can concentrate on other aspects of your live mixing. And lastly, although there are many more reasons that I might touch in future videos, generative generative content is resolution independent. With a couple of clicks, you can easily change something that was done at full HD into 4K and beyond. Again, no rendering times, no waiting. This, for me, it's a massive asset to have. As I've discussed in other videos, I've been performing using audiovisual synths made entirely in Resolume for quite a while. And the fact that I was using generative content made it possible for me to go from performing on a straight up HD screen set up behind me to doing a full dome that's 360, 180, using the same content with very little tweaking and preparing on my hand. All I had to do was add some dome plugins and I was ready to go. So that's it for now. I hope I've inspired you to start getting into making your own generative content if you don't do that already, because as you've seen, it just makes a lot of sense. So please comment below. I'm always happy and intrigued to see what you've got to say about my videos. Feel free to suggest subjects that I haven't touched. Please like and subscribe. It really helps my channel and it enables me to carry on doing these videos. So hopefully I'll see you next time. Bye.